The Premier League clash today that is going to take place at Stamford Bridge is Chelsea hosting Tottenham Hotspur. And this is going to be quite an interesting game, as these two are one of the biggest rivalries in club football, especially in London. So this game is quite familiar to Mauricio Pochettino, who will be facing his former team Tottenham Hotspur, with Ange Postecoglou looking to try and get his team back to winning ways after suffering a loss at home against Arsenal. So Mauricio Pochettino will be trying and do a double over his former club, and Ange Postecoglou will try to at least win against Tottenham's biggest rivals. So Mauricio Pochettino's press conference was quite disappointing for a lot of Chelsea fans, indicating how Chelsea are currently going through an injury crisis, losing their entire backline through injuries, and also their key forward players not being back and fit and ready. So let's try and see what lineup Mauricio can pick for this game. Petrovic maintains his position in goal and will be looking to try and continue his start in goal, though he has really conceded a lot of goals this season and made some mistakes. He should actually be quite better for this game. Now the backline is where I have a problem, especially the pairing, and I'll have to go with Disasi and Badiashile, though Disasi is being assessed if he can be ready to start this game. But if he's ready, I'd prefer him to start alongside Badiashile, though this defensive duo was quite disastrous against Arsenal at the Emirates, and we hope they will play better this game. The fullback position will just have to settle with Chalobah down the right because Gusto is absent, or Gilchrist can come in, though I prefer the experience of Chalobah. And Marc Cucurella will definitely start down the left because also Ben Chilwell is not quite ready to start this game. And Cucurella played well, especially in the inverted role against Aston Villa. In the midfield, we'll go with the double pivot of Conor Gallagher and Moises Caicedo. And this pivot has been quite great. As we have seen, Caicedo plays quite better with Gallagher than he plays alongside Enzo Fernandez. And we hope that he's going to replicate the form he displayed against Aston Villa in this game, with energetic pressing from Conor Gallagher alongside him. Playing ahead of them will be Cole Palmer, a very crucial and important player for Chelsea, especially in the attacking areas of the pitch, and his link-up play is able to link both defense and attack, will be quite very important for Chelsea as they try to play those balls over the top and link their midfield and the attack. Down the wide areas, Chelsea have no option but to start Madueke and Mykhailo Mudryk, and we hope that Mykhailo Mudryk will have a good game and will not be quite raw as he is. And Noni Madueke, we expect him to do what he does best, and that is taking his opponents aggressively down the right, something that he's done quite well. Leading the line will be Nicholas Jackson. His physicality, his ability to drop deep and hold the ball and carry the ball forward will be very important for Chelsea. And Chelsea will need his physicality, especially up front, to try and carry the team forward. We also hope again that he will finish his chances in this game. Now we will like, share and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. And now we look at what Tottenham can do in possession, and we're going to try and analyze what Tottenham try to do, what is their gaming strategy, and how they try to exploit their opponents. They are a great team this season, though they are not quite in a great position, but Ange is looking to do well. So Spurs build up in a quite unique way, with having their centre-backs split wide alongside their goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper tries to look for either of the centre-backs. Now Spurs fullbacks is where the challenge usually is, because they don't usually start as wide as normal fullbacks, but rather in this wide position, Spurs fullbacks look to try and invert as early as possible. Their wingers start wider, and Spurs midfielders, fullbacks try to immediately look to join the midfield in the first phases of play, because Ange Postecoglou generally likes to play through the middle. So the fullbacks will immediately look to invert earlier on during the build-up phase, and there are two midfielders pushing forward. You can see from this clip how Vicario is trying to build from the back, and you can see how Spurs are arranging themselves. You can see the position of Spurs centre-backs, the Spurs holding midfielder, and the fullbacks who have tucked in midfield. Now, Ange Postecoglou's main aim is to create an overload in midfield by forcing the play to be played quite narrow, and when the opposition now are confronted whether to press the two centre-backs and leave gaps in midfield, because if you press the two centre-backs then you'll have to commit a lot of players to press in midfield, and this will give Spurs the spaces in the wide areas. So if they are able to play the ball to their deepest pivot, then you'll be in quite devastating problems. Now when the center backs have the ball, you'll see one midfielder dropping from the higher position to receive the ball so high up the pitch, and this is something that Spurs have been doing. You can see here that Sarr has dropped into the right back position as Porro has inverted in midfield, and now Sarr can receive the ball directly from his center backs and marked and look to progress Spurs from defense to attack. The same thing has also happened here with Son. The two fullbacks have inverted, and now Maddison has dropped deep and is willing to receive the ball directly from Vicario and look to progress Spurs high up the pitch. And this is quite interesting for Spurs, and teams might decide to sit off Spurs and allow them to play through the fast lines of pressure. And what Spurs generally like to do in this position is that they like to commit a lot of players in between the lines. Their fullbacks can start in this narrow position, and Spurs like to play with an aggressively high line, meaning that they can give you spaces in behind, and this is facilitated with the pace of Van der Ven. Now the position of the fullbacks is quite crucial because they interchange with the attacking midfielders, with the fullbacks taking the half space role and Maddison moving to the number 10 position, with Spurs having as many as 6 players in the attacking zones of the pitch. Their main aim is to suffocate opponents and try to have as many players attacking the space. But this can also be Spurs' Achilles heel, because Spurs can also try to use their wingers to draw fullbacks out of position and look to attack the half space, something that Manchester City also tried to do, and having many players push forward to try and attack the 18-yard space. But this pushing a lot of players forward is also Spurs' Achilles heel, because now they leave a lot of spaces in the wide areas vacated by the fullbacks, and their high defensive line also generates opponents with spaces to make runs beyond Tottenham Hotspur. Now in our next clip we are going to try and look how Chelsea can try to play alongside Spurs. So Chelsea this season has been very inconsistent. That is something that you expect to the young players, but how can Chelsea try to play against Spurs? And we are looking at Chelsea when they are pressing. So Chelsea can either adopt the pressing strategy that Newcastle employed, where Newcastle started with a back 5. So how did Newcastle do this? Newcastle were quite dynamic because they know how Tottenham like to build up. They decided to go man v man by trying to mark the two centre backs, the deepest players, and having their deepest pivots pick up Spurs attacking midfielders and pushing their wing backs in field to pick up Spurs fullbacks, and then using their wide centre backs to cover Spurs front 3. And this will leave 1v1s all over the pitch, and it's up to individual players to try and win the ball off the other. And this kind of pressing strategy was very effective for Newcastle because they were able to try and create those pressing tracks for Spurs, where Spurs will attempt to play those penetrative line breaking midfield passes, and Newcastle will immediately intercept those passes and look to immediately hit Tottenham Hotspur in transitions. So can Chelsea do that? No, because I don't believe Chelsea have quite technical players, especially at the back, to deal with 1v1 situation. But rather Chelsea can employ their 4-2-3-1 pressing strategy. And this pressing strategy might be led by Jackson, and the front 3 playing quite narrow and close to each other, looking to try and cover the central spaces, using their wingers to press the center backs, and using Jackson to try and sit on the holding midfielder to force Tottenham to play the balls in the middle, receive the ball in the middle areas, and look immediately to transition from their pressing to attacking Tottenham. Without the ball, when Tottenham are in much settled phases of possession, we need to see how Chelsea can look to exploit Tottenham, especially in counter-attacking situations. If they decide to sit in a 4-2-3-1, they are able to cover the two inverted fullbacks and look to use their two midfielders in Caicedo and Gallagher to win the ball, and immediately look to hit those spaces in the channels, especially for the runs of Mudryk, Noni Madueke, and also Nicholas Jackson, who will be looking to try and stretch Tottenham Hotspur. Without the ball also, Chelsea will be quite very interesting, because with the ball, Chelsea can immediately look to play the ball short. So Spurs will generally press high with a 4-4-2 diamond, with Son with a forward pressing alongside James Maddison. And you can use your goalkeeper either as an extra player to try and beat the front two press and give you numerical advantages during this phase. And having one midfielder in Moises Caicedo to drop deep and try to create that overload against Spurs. Now, in this kind of situation, the main aim that we need to know is Chelsea need to work third man combinations by having their deepest player pushing forward, receiving the ball and looking to play that flick on pass to a centre back. Once the centre back is free in this position, we can have forwards dropping deep, and Cole Palmer does this quite effectively. And especially down the right, Disasi can receive the ball in this position, and Cole Palmer can immediately look to drop deep to receive the ball in these kinds of deeper positions, because Højbjerg cannot drop deep to try and pick up Palmer, because Conor Gallagher now will be free to receive the ball in between the lines, and Chelsea can easily use quick one-touch passing to effectively play through Tottenham Hotspur. And Jackson can also drop deep and look to try and link up with Cole Palmer, and have the wingers in Noni Madueke and Mykhailo Mudryk looking to make those diagonal runs behind Tottenham Hotspur's backline. Alternatively, this kind of system is also quite great for Chelsea, as they can drop Chalobah slightly deeper and try to create that wide overload, and have Noni Madueke drop so deep, pull Udogie out of position, and look to try and create overloads down the right with Palmer, and try to have Nicholas Jackson making runs in behind the spaces left or vacated by Udogie or whoever will be playing at left back. When Chelsea are in settled possession, especially high up the pitch, because we expect Chelsea to also have some time when they'll be in possession, and when Chelsea are in these phases of possession, what we expect Chelsea to do is quite very interesting. So Noni Madueke can look to be dribbling inside, and Palmer can either start in the left half space position. Cucurella can decide to invert in midfield to play alongside Caicedo and Conor Gallagher, with Chelsea moving into a back three system, or Gallagher pushing forward to occupy the right half space, and having Chelsea having that 3-5 system that can enable them to effectively try to create overloads against Spurs. And this can be effective also to cover Spurs in transition, and having Palmer to play through balls, especially for the runs of Mudryk and Noni Madueke. Alternatively, Gallagher can also start in the midfield position, with Cucurella generating the width down the left, and Palmer and Mykhailo Mudryk playing in those inside positions. This can also be great because both of them are excellent through ball passers in this position. And a staggering of the double pivot of Chelsea by enabling Caicedo and Gallagher to momentarily pick the ball directly from the centre back can enable them to have a staggering structure that can enable them to play balls through Tottenham's midfield and attacking lines. Chelsea should not be afraid to get at Tottenham, because they can easily find spaces. Tottenham will generate a lot of spaces for Chelsea because they like to press high, and they like to play also with a very high line. The same case down the right, Chalobah can try to push forward, draw in a forward, and look to have Noni Madueke in a 1v1 position. Noni Madueke is quite great in 1v1 positions, and will most likely look to try and receive the ball and try to dribble past his fullback and try to create something for Chelsea, either trying to play players in field or attempt a shot on goal. This is going to be quite an interesting match at Stamford Bridge, with Mauricio Pochettino trying to at least hit the 60 points mark that he needs to get this season. This is going to be a tall order for Chelsea, and the injury crisis worsens the situation for Chelsea, as Chelsea will be trying at least to look to try and win and get something out of this game. It's going to be a difficult game for Pochettino, and we're going to analyze it. Thanks for watching.